Okay, hello guys. Today I'm going to play Tyranny, the new game, new RPG game. So let's try to start it because I know nothing about it. So I'll play on the normal difficulty because it's my first experience with the game. We have a loading screen. I hope it will not bug because I tried to do it for some times. No, it works. Alright. So we have intro. So
For
let's
over
watch.
400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
Alright. Alright, we have a character creation. Uh, Very interesting intro. It seems that it's somehow a classical game in terms that the fate of the world is in your hand. Uh, so voila, we have body creation. I will go with just usual guy like that. In the Northern Empire, where you were born, men enjoy equal project. Okay, so I guess we can go further. Small starts of. Okay, let's go further. We have to choose portrait, facial hair, all that. I'm thinking for the first Let's Play I will try to play more like a warrior character, warrior-like character, so voila, maybe it will, no, it will be sufficient. Okay, face. Okay, that will go. Can I have somehow shorter hair? Okay, that's nice. Let's go with his beard. Maybe not. No, not the Abraham Lincoln style. Maybe more. No, not the ponytail for sure. Okay, let's go like that. The tattoo. No, I'll go without any tattoos. Man, sneaky.
That wasn't so hard. Quiet down.
Noble.
Will do.
Let's go with the male noble voice. Okay, history. So as far as I know, we don't have a classical classical class system, but we have something like story and abilities and skills. So let's read about it. How did you join Kyros' army? Pit fighter, hunter, guild apprentice, noble Sion, diplomat, war mage, lawbreaker soldier. I don't really know whether it affects the further gameplay. Origin. Today you are a Fatebringer, agent of the Archon of Justice. You are by no means free, but as a warrior scholar, deputized with oh my god, sorry, this discretionary power to interpret and execute the laws of the Overlord Kyros. You are freer than most. One does not apply to be a Fatebinder. One is called by Tunon, the Archon of Justice, and to decline is death. Millions of men and women live in the dozens of realms ruined by the Overlord. How did you stand out from among this teeming mass of desperation and insignificance and gain the Archon's notice? Okay, so here we have the choice of story. Let's skim quickly through it. Because my character is more like to be a classical warrior type, I'm inclined to go as a soldier. So let's read what it is. Unable to settle the year's account with grain, your parents offered you as tithes to the overlord instead. Seeing your first battles as a child, you have known all your life how to fight, how to stay calm at the sight of blood and disembowelment, and how to rely on your fellow warriors. Deemed smarter than the average killer, you were groomed for command and given an education in letters and numbers. With rumors of wars, it seemed recruitment into the disfavored legion. Disfavored legion. So we have information for everything. Would be the obvious match for your skill, but the Archon of Justice is known to say that good iron is not used for swords, and good minds are not used for soldiers. Okay, climbed by Tunon, you were instead drafted into the court of Fatebinders, where your martial skills were put to use in the enforcement of Kairos law. So let's quickly read about the Kairos, who's the main bad guy, I suppose. Sorry. Kairos is a name out of legend. For centuries the Overlord has consolidated power, sending vast armies to swallow entire realms. The most powerful mystic the world has ever seen, Kairos can issue edicts, magical proclamations that level cities, spread pox, sunder the land, or charge the course of seasons. Well, oh, that's quite impressive. And claimed by Tunon. Who is Tunon? Tunon, the adjudicator, is the Archon of Justice, ruler of the conquered realms, and arbiter of disputes. Oldest of the Archon, sorry, oldest of the Archons sent to conquer the Tyrs. Tyranny speaks with Kairos authority. His true appearance remained hidden behind an iron mask, the face of judgment. Tanan is an impartial, sober creature fully obsessed with justice and order, and disfavored. Disciplined and battle-hardened, the disfavored are an elite legion in Kairos' army. They spearheaded the conquest of the younger realms, finding themselves always outnumbered, but never outclassed. Led by the steadfast and dutiful Graven Ash, whom they follow with obsessive devotion, they are committed to impose their interpretation of order upon the land. Okay. Primary expertise. So, dual wielding. I always incline to go for the sword and shield because I like some more or less classical European warfare, classical medieval battle, and more or less historical stuff. So I will go with the sword and shield. And here I have choose to choose an arbitrary sword and shield. Wielding a sword and shield puts you in the front line of combat, standing between enemies and your allies. Holding a shield will slow down your attack right slightly but give you good defense bonuses, which is super nice. So we have arbitrary ability. Uh, Shield slam. Slam your shield against the target, dazing them for a moderate duration. And thunder. Deliver a powerful overhead attack that reduces the target's armor. I'm inclined to go for the shield slam for now. Okay, let's go further. Secondary secondary expertise. So I have one in sword and shield and another in in that's quite interesting. What can I secondary expertise can I have to match with sword and shield technique? Maybe I should go for the dual wielding. No, no, no. It doesn't seem to be quite nice. Uh, I'm inclined to choose something between spear and shield and war mace, but let's read first. Wielding a sword and if it's in the front line, holding a shield is okay. It doesn't say anything. Two-handed weapon, war mace. Excuse me. Excuse me, I will take a short pause. Sorry, guys. Okay, here I'm inclined to go with the javelin, so I can use the classical tactics. While seeing enemy, throw a javelin and then go to melee. So let's go for the javelin and choose the ability. It's headshot. Delay your aim to focus on hitting the target's heart. Gain additional accuracy for this attack and leave the target bleeding. Or hobble. Target your enemy's feet with a ranged attack, hobbling them if successfully. I'm inclined to go with a hobble because for me javelin it's not the primary weapon, it's more like additional weapon. I can throw a javelin and then go with a sword attack. So let it be hobble. And let's go next. Now I am supposed to choose a banner. Oh, that's quite nice. But as far as I see, I cannot upload my own banner, but I can choose something. I can choose something. Let's go with this grim one, because I really quite like it. And change color. Oh, it's the color of the character. Okay. Here is the colors of the banner. So I guess I will go with just black and white banner and with kinda colors like that. So, okay, let's go to the most difficult part of all the character creation. It's a name. I have absolutely no idea how do I supposed to name this character, but as far as I see, this game is not classical, I guess I mentioned not classical European medieval setting, but more like Bronze Age, like Roman things, so let's call him Scipio, or Scipio, no, like that, Scipio, next. Now we have our attributes: might, finesse, quickness, vitality, wits, and resolve. I really hope that wits doesn't affect dialogues in any kind, because in some games like Planescape Torment it was really awkward to me to play like a warrior character because you don't have a high intelligence, and therefore you cannot speak much with many NPC. You don't have many replics, many options in dialogue. So I really hope that wits do not affect my ability to speak with NPC, because I'm not going to incline to make wits anymore, because I don't really need it. I don't really need it as a warrior. So we have might. Might determines the physical strength of a character. Increased might leads to more powerful attack and stronger abilities, uh, as well as increasing the endurance defense. Okay, we have finesse. The finesse attribute describes a character's physical and mental precision. Finesse is used to determine accuracy of attacks and spell, as well as increasing born armor's chances to reduce a hit type. That's also nice. Quickness determines how often a character can use their abilities and spells in combat, reducing cooldown duration. Vitality, it's obviously a health bonus. Wits, it's more like magical. The wits attribute describes a character's mental acuity, their ability to observe their environment and pick up on clues. Wits is used to increase the strength as well as increase the magic defense. Okay, and we have a resolve. Resolve determines a character's ability to endure physical and mental challenges. Resolve is primary the attribute used to derive the endurance, will, and magic defense. It also increases the duration of afflictions applied by the character. Okay, I guess this science indicates the attributes I need the most. So I am going to make my character strong, and maybe go like that. I'm not really I'm not really sure that I really need quickness, because my character is more a tank-like character. So I'm not really sure I need so much quickness. But that's really a awkward choice, because I cannot increase my vitality, and for some reason they don't make it the prominent thing. But alright, let's try to play like that. In any case, it's not the highest difficulty, so I guess it will be alright. Let's go for the skills. So we have weapon skills and support skills. One-handed weapon, thrown weapons, bows, dual-wielded magic staff, two-handed, armed combat. Okay, athletic, parry, dodge, lore. That's quite interesting. I guess lore also could affect my ability to communicate with the NPCs. So let's read it quickly. Lore skill determines a character's ability to decipher information and put together clues from fragments of information. This skill is critical for magic users who wish to learn new. Okay. Lore is also used in dialogue to determine what you know about the history of the world. Sorry. Or to impress others with your intelligence. That's thing I don't really like, because as a warrior I'm not supposed to have you know, high level of intelligence and high lore. But okay, let's go with the stupid guy. You know, we're just soldier and we know only the battle. So I will increase. Okay, what is athletic? Athletic determines a character's ability to traverse difficult terrain as well as their ability to execute complicated moves in combat. Athletics is also used in dialogue to determine your ability to intimidate or physically overpower someone. So okay, we can rely on bullying people at least. If not lore and intelligence, then we just can bully someone. Okay, parry skill. Parry skill, defense against melee attacks and spells. Higher skill ranks will reduce damage from enemy attacks and may lead them to miss altogether. So okay, I'm inclined to make one-handed weapon higher, and don't touch so far thrown weapon, because the javelin thing in my character plays like secondary role. It's just a support weapon on the first stages of battle. So I will not increase thrown weapon, but go with 100 at 40. And let's increase athletic and parry. I'm not really sure, but okay, let's make it 35 and go with 45 in 100 weapon. Okay, next. How do you want to continue? Conquest or quick start? Selecting the conquest option will allow you to play through Kairos conquest of the tiers, choosing how your character was involved in the invasion. That gives you the most control over the starting state of the game and how other factions will react to your character. Okay, let's go from the beginning, because it's quite interesting for the sake of the story and for me also.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior.
A space bar to continue. Okay.
In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Okay. So, conquest. During the conquest you will decide your character's action during Kairos' invasion of the Tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. Okay. The first year of Kairos conquest. So what's that? The Bastard City. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos Empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroad between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as the gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' army. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the tiers. Kairos' will is unsurmountable. Okay, let's read quickly what they say. Named for its position between two realms, the Northern Empire and the Southern Sires, the Bastard City and its surrounding lands, known as the Bastard Tiers, is a melting pot of cultures and a place of commerce and intrigue. The Tiresmen of the South and the Bastard view the Bastard City. Click. Okay, so it's sprawling slum. The Churchman of the South views the Bastard City as a place of wealth and excess, but to the people of the Northern Empire, the Bastard City is little more than a sprawling slum. Tunon, the adjudicator, established his court in the Bastard City. From the foothold in the tiers, he and his court of fate binders imposed Kairos law upon the conquered land. Okay. Okay, so we go next. Bastard City. Select a token on the map to begin. So, Gates of Judgment and infiltrate the tiers. Both armies send their forces to prepare the way and get in the first major engagement of the war. Kairos army cross the mountains and establish the foothold. So what do I infiltrate? The armies of Kairos took the battle to the Gates of Judgment, trumpeting the opening call to the conquest of the tiers. The two armies brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited for your strength. Join the battle alongside the disfavored, or join the battle alongside the Scarlet Corps. Okay, let's quickly read about our both options. Standing shield to shield, it's the joint battle alongside the disfavored, the Northern Army, as far as I understand. Standing shield to shield with Kairos ironclad elite, you advanced on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the Bastard City. The Legion wanted to send a message to the Tyres that superior breeding and discipline training would win the day. And we have the join battle, the option to join the battle alongside the Scarlet Corps. You rushed with the chaotic mass of the Scarlet Corps, ranked by the Bastard City's army, and drove them to flee. Let's quickly read about the Scarlet Corps. The Scarlet Corps is little more than a gang of thugs and their captive slaves, rather than organized under commissioned officers. The corps followed a hierarchy seemingly ruled by whoever has the bravado to command and defend their position. At the head of this chaotic picking order, the Archon of Secrets, better known as the voice of Nerat, steers the Scarlet Corps as his personal army. The Scarlet Corps often suffers tremendous losses after battle, only to swell in the aftermath when captured enemies and collaborated prisoners are given the cruel opportunity to join or die. Very interesting. Let's read about Infiltrate the Tires. Infiltrate the Tires. History would remember the greatest judgment at the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The disfavored and Scarlet Corps each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? Let's read about disfavored. Disciplined and battle-hardened, the disfavored are an elite legion in Kairos' army. They spearheaded the conquest of the younger realms, finding themselves always outnumbered but never outclassed. Led by steadfast and dutiful Graven Ash, whom they follow with obsessive devotion, they are committed to imposing their interpretation of order upon the relative lawless of the Sires. The Legion only tolerates Northerners in their ranks, priding themselves on their high standards and cultural purity. Okay, that's quite interesting choice. First we have a choice what we are supposed to do. Are we supposed to infiltrate the tires, or we are supposed to fight at the gates of judgment? I am kind of inclined to join the main battle at the gates of judgment, but here we have a pretty interesting choice. For the type of my character is actually more suited to join the Northern, because I'm kinda like disciplined warrior with a sword and shield, but I'm very much inclined to join this bastard, disgraceful, disastrous army. So let's actually be a completely bad guys and choose the Scarlet Course because we can. You caught the mercenary army unprepared for the mania and disorder of the Scarlet Course. Your forces overwhelmed the Tyre's defenses in a few short hours, hacking and burning their way into the continent. Any mercenaries who survived the battle found themselves initiated into the Scarlet Course, tortured by ruthless interrogation or interrogators, or made the support of competition as the army marched ruthlessly forward. Nice. Okay. Um, the to judge the enemy, you decided the fate of enemy soldiers captured in the battle, or you found feeding the host. You found a way to feed Kairos' army in enemy territories. Let's read about these things. Against the most feeding the host. Against the most optimistic projection, the disfavored and Scarlet Course made short work of the local defenses. They did so well that the armies quickly outplaced their supply caravans. Troops were plentiful, but food was scarce. You only had time to execute one plan to secure provisions. You only had time to secure provisions. Okay, let's read about the options we have. You authorize disfavored troops to confiscate food and supplies from traveling merchants' caravans. The Tyres had already spent ignorant centuries glutting themselves outside of Kairos law. Or you authorize the Scarlet Course to send their horde out to pillage from farms and villages, spreading the infamy of Kairos' army prepared the Tyres for the reality of the impending conquest. Okay, and we have the to judge the enemy. The soldiers of the Tyres fell by hundreds, and Kairos' army could not agree on how to handle uh, what few survivors they dragged back to the camp. Befitting your role, the commanders turned to you to decide the fate of those who occupied first the occupied prison pens. There were only enough prisoners to support the plan of a single army. Okay, let's read the options. The disfavored need slaves to hold their gear, dig latrines, and keep their pallets warm at night. You consigned the survivors of battle to their subservient role among Graven Ash's noble troops. Let's read about Graven Ash quickly. The last of the great Northern generals to stand against the Overlord in ages past, Archon Graven Ash now serves Kairos as supreme commander of the disfavored legion, and is charged with conquering the Fears. Graven Ash shares a powerful bond with the soldiers under his command, and regards each of them as family. The death of a soldier at enemy hands represents a grievous loss to the old general, who bears the burden of his love with mournful stoicism. Whoa, that's pretty interesting. This guy seems to be more or less nice in this circumstances, the Graven Ash. Or we have I don't even want to read it because I'm sure it's not super nice. You gave prisoners the chance to serve in Kairos' army or die. The Scarlet Course was in need of extra troops to fill up the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy Zeus slows nicely. So really, I'm inclined to go with this choice because I don't really want to mingle with feeding the host and all that things. So let's give them order to just join us or die. You know? You armored cooperative ex-soldiers with scrap weapons and toss them into the vanguard of the next Scarlet Corps assault. Those who survived were welcome to take up the arms and armor of the fallen and eke out a desperate struggle to survive in Kairos military. After their first victory, you rewarded the new recruits with the opportunity to execute their wounded or reluctant countrymen. Well, what a nice opportunity it is. Taking the Bastard City. The armies of Kairos amassed around the Bastard City, the first bastion of the Tyrs to fall. Both armies launched to storm the walled outpost, the Scarlet Corps, howling for plunder, and the disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Yeah, my character should really sort his hair, but well, what's done is done. Your prowess on the field of the battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Both of the armies had inspired schemes to take the Bastard City. Which did you support? So, taking the Bastard City, uh, we have assault on the main gate, burn the city, or sabotage city defense. Let's read. You join the disfavored vanguard in a direct assault upon the city gates. No fortification would stand before the unstoppable legion. You join the Scarlet Corps in setting fire to the city and blocking the gates. The defenders would surrender or burn. You led a mixed band of disfavored and Scarlet Corps scout over the city walls to sabotage its defense. I'm going to go on the... Oh, and it gives us some additional abilities, which is also should be read before we choose anything. Uh, Warrior's Respite. Stand your ground in face of defeat. During this time you would regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. Or we have Searing Palm. Gather heated energy into your hands and release it onto a foil. The target ignites in flames, burning over time. Or Concealing Shadows. Create a cloud of obscuring shadow and dust. For a short duration, enemies that use physical attack against you have a significantly increased chance to miss. During this time your attacks will also be less effective. I am inclined to go with the Warrior Respite, and I kinda like more the idea of a direct assault upon the city gates because, you know, other plans, I don't really, like them. Okay, taking the Bastard City. With heroic courage and legendary determination, the disfavored battered the gates of the Bastard City to splinters. Those who fell under the consistent hail of arrows or cascades of boiling pitch left the battlefield temporarily, only to appear hours later as Archongrave Ash's protection healed their numerous wounds. In time, the gates gave way and Kairos forces spilled inside the city walls with resounding cheers of victory. Okay, so we took the Bastard City now, but the war is far from over. Okay, the Bastard City, okay, there is Apex. Okay, let's read this first and then go to the Apex. Oh, there is actually an information about... Okay, here. The Bastard City, settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos banner. Your name was inspired alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement Levian, Levian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into realm of Apex, into the realm of Apex. So let's first read about Tunon. Tunon, uh, the Adjudicator, is the Archon of Justice, ruler of the Conquest realms, and arbiter of disputes. Oldest of the Archons sent to conquer the Tyres, Tunon speaks with Kairos authority. His true appearance remains hidden behind an iron mask, the face of judgment. Tunon is an impartial, sober creature, wholly obsessed with justice and order. Though assumed to be a powerful combatant, Tunon rarely stays from his throne room, entrusting his court of fate-binders to act as his eyes and ears, as well as judges, juries, and executioners. Okay, let's read about Apex and Ledian Crossing. Apex. The troops of the mountain realms of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the bastard city, in the bastard tier fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Corps crossed over the mountains to take control of the Tars central valley. Okay, or Levian Crossing. Deposits of the iron made the settlement of Levian's Crossing a strategy war asset. Kairos sent the four-bound Smith's mage of exceptional skills to establish a flow of weaponry. Tunon the Adjudicator sent one of his Fate-binders to ensure the enforcement of Kairos law. So we have uh, I guess I'm kind of inclined to continue the war here. It's the second year of Kairos conquest. The mountain nation of Apex, ruled for generations by the Queen of House Vendrienne, stood at the heart of the Tyres. No army could bypass the landlocked realm without leaving their rank exposed to attack. By the second year of the war, the disfavored and Scarlet Corps had pushed deep into the Tyres. Elements of both armies were dispatched to conquer Apex. Tunon assigned you to accompany them, tasked with bringing Kairos law to the territory as well as keeping an eye on both armies. Okay, next. Voila, here we have two choices again. The Battle of Edgerin Pass. The disfavored sent their most destructive ally to crush Edgerin front. Karin, Archon of Stone, buried the stronghold under the avalanche triggered from the surrounding mountains. The Scarlet Corps were promised to capture enemies for recruitment, yet none survived the onslaught. The Corps demand compensation. Let's quickly read about Karen. As tall as the hills, Karen is the Archon of Stone, master of earth and soil, destroyer of mountains and cities. Karen is a reluctant leader. Is the reluctant leader of the Earthshaker Guild, though he is less their teacher and more their object of study. The massive Archon is sworn to Graven Ash and provides arcane support to the disfavored war effort. Here we have a choice. You congratulated the disfavored for taking the path without risking the lives of Kairos' loyal servants. At this stage of the campaign, it was vital to use any advantage that would mitigate ally loss. Or you upheld the Scarlet Corps claim and demand that the youngest disfavored scouts join the Corps to settle the debt. Okay, and we have this. The denial of strength. A school of water mages loyal to the Tarsmen posed a substantial threat. The disfavored wished to annihilate the school, while the Scarlet Corps insisted on capturing the mages wishing to learn of their craft. And we have the you sided with disfavored. All mages had a chance to surrender before the war, and trying to capture the enemy would lead to needless losses. You sided with Scarlet Corps, ordering the mage elders taken alive for interrogation. Here I'm kinda inclined to go with this choice because that seemed to me really important, while this is basically done without us. So let's capture the mages. Denial of strength. Though countless lives were lost taking the mages into custody, well, the lives of the Scarlet Corps don't worth much, I suppose. The Scarlet Corps praised your name as they dragged the beaten elders of the school to the voice of Nerat's stand. As a wave of scream, incoherent pleas reached their crescendo, the Scarlet Corps soldiers outside cheered for their Archon. The disfavored adjourned to their camp in grim silence, climbing the course like the will and desire to fully wipe out all traces of the enemy school. Okay, next two choices. A captive captain and poison in the wheel. Okay, let's read about it. A captive captain. When Kairos' forces captured a celebrated enemy hero, the armies bricked over his fate. The disfavored wanted him to set free to convince his peers of Kairos' mercy. The Scarlet Corps wanted him flame and stakes as an example. So here, there are two choices to agree with disfavored or with Scarlet Corps. You agreed with the disfavored plan and sent the enemy captain back with a message. All those who surrendered or cooperated would be treated with deserving respect as subjects of Kairos' peace. Or you executed the captain and had his remains fashioned into terrifying display. Fear was the Scarlet Corps' most compelling weapon, and he knew that its impact would resonate across the Apex army. Or poison in the wheel. Hoping to break the siege, Scarlet Corps agents poisoned the Apex water supply in secret. Days later, uninformed disfavored scouts died of illness. Outraged by the failure of communication, the disfavored demanded that the Corps agent be turned over to them for punishment. I see. You upheld the charges, ordering the Scarlet Corps agents delivered to disfavored justice would be served, but at the risk of seeing discontent between two armies. Or you denied the complaint. Tragedies happen in war, and the act was not targeted with the intent at the disfavored. The reality was more honest than the satisfaction the disfavored so wanted. That's really an interesting choice because here I don't like any options, because this one is too soft and this one is too brutal and harsh, while I don't really care about this poison in the wheel affairs. But okay, let's at this point be a good guy and go with the disfavored option of setting the captain free with a message. Shocked by your clemency, the enemy captain vowed to deliver the message. in full and paid his respect before departing for his encampment. Though typical more uncompromising, the disfavored praised your innovative thinking. The Scarlet Course despised what they viewed as resources wasted only to release a known enemy back into the wild. The fall of the Apex. With the defeat of Apex uneventability, the armies of Kairos met to discuss how to put an end to this stage of the conquest. Both armies agreed to send an offer of parley. Along with their acceptance, the enemy requested that you appear at the meeting. Word of your fair dealings had apparently spread to their ranks. How did you orchestrate the surrender of the realm of Apex? Let's see. Through days of meditation, you negotiated the surrender of the valley to Kairos' forces, putting an end to further bloodshed. Taunting the Queen of Apex into striking you under a banner of truce, you baited the Queen of Apex into a duel and slew her, frightening her vassals into submission. I don't know, I am kind of inclined to go with this option because why not, and you know, we had too much bloodshed, so of course, so let's do it. Your former enemies were loath to part with their lands, but they were even more reluctant to continue a war they were losing at every turn. The Tyresmen are a stubborn lot, and despite their grim situation, it still took days of discussion and diplomacy to show them the madness of tenacity. On the third day of meditation, the rulers of Apex finally submit to your terms of surrender, putting an end to the war in the valley and freeing up Kairos' forces to march deeper into the Tyres. Okay. So we took another city. It wasn't a bloodshed, so we can go further. And now we have the choice of between the three options. The land of Apex finally rested in the hands of Kairos' forces. The Scarlet Curse paused to revel in victory, while the disfavored prepared for the next fight, affording themselves but an uneven rest. Kairos' army radiated out from the conquered citadel and worked their way across the Tyres. The disfavored and Scarlet Course aimed to dominate as much territory as possible in the coming years. Your distinguished reputation in Kairos military left the choice of your next destination yours to make. So here we have the Vellum Citadel, Stalwart, and Azure. There are three lands to conquer. Vellum Citadel. No, it's here. Vellum Citadel. Kairos' conquest gaze fell upon the Vellum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. Stalwart. With its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the Tyres, or Azure. Azure. Kairos dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Because I'm a warrior, I'm far more inclined to go for the Stalwart to finish the war with the most powerful enemy. This. No, this. Okay, let's go for the Stalwart. The 30 years of Kairos conquest. The realm of Stalwart was best known for its broad army, disciplined, courageous, and undefeated on their own soil. Skill and resolve made stalwart a military power that Kara's forces approached with due caution. With its southern position, Stalwart had been largely safe from war, watching for 2 years as its neighbors fell to the Kairos forces. On the dawn of the third year of war, Kairos' forces were finally poised to invade the Stalwart Peninsula and subdue the Tyre's most wanted army. Okay, here we have two choices again. Okay, so we have two options here: marching on enemy or a contentious setback. Times in defeat led to accusation among Kyr's army, or tragedy struck when hungry Scarlet Corps appropriated disfavored supplies. Let's read it. Uh, the stalwart defenders burned their crops as they retreated, leaving the invaders little to forage. Starving the Scarlet Corps raided from the disfavored army well-maintained supply lines, incurring casualties on both sides. So I can read about it. You ordered that the thieving Scarlet Corps soldiers be spiked for their affront. By your command, the disfavored share their provision. The thieves each lost a hand for their treachery. Okay, what is this? After a defeat at the hands of the enemy defenders, the Scarlet Corps accused the disfavored of recklessness. The disfavored claimed the Scarlet Corps brought too few soldiers to cover their ranks. Both armies you refused to march until you gave a warning. Knowing the disfavored reputation for discipline as well as the Scarlet Corps' power to instill fear and frenzy, you decided that the Scarlet Corps was in the wrong. Or, like in proof that the Scarlet Corps recruits were negligent, you punished the disfavored commander for his failure and for bringing charges without evidence. So now we have like real difficulties in our war. So that's really an interesting choice. Uh, After the final hands of enemies. Here I'm going to go with the disfavored because against the well-trained enemy, I guess they have more experience to beat such enemy. So let's do that. The Scarlet Corps were non-plus to receive some censure, but against that the disfavored would not share in the blame. Soldiers hurled venomous accusations your way, challenging your impartiality and wondering where justice could be found, if not in Tyro's fate binder. They argued that reputation should have no bearing on law. Okay. You can dislike me, I don't fucking care. Sorry. Negative conscription or fall of the regions. Scarlet Corps soldiers were spotted fighting alongside the stalwart defenders. The voices of Nerat insisted they were spies and listed to gauge the army weakness and so the discontent. The disfavored accused the soldiers of treason and demanded bloody reprisal. The contentious armies sought your ruling on the matter. So what do I have here? I have you order the disfavored to execute the spies when they were found and demanded a full accounting of so-called agents from the Scarlet Corps, or trusting that Kairos spy master knew his business, you order the disfavored to ignore the Scarlet Corps agents. Let's read the voice of Nerat. Known in his official capacity as the Archon of Secrets, the voices of Nerat is equal parts genius and madman. Rumors around that he can steal the minds of others, though few, if any, are alive to confirm as much. The subjects of his interrogation are never heard from again, and the Archon is able to recall the memories of his victim with startling accuracy. He's the inconsistent leader of the Scarlet Corps, vacillating between commanding from vanguard and directing his armies in absentia. Despite his strange methods, no one doubts that the voice of Nerat is an accomplished strategist, even suggesting that his madness stems from thinking hundreds, perhaps thousands of steps ahead of his enemy. Okay, that's one choice, and another is full of regions. The army of Kairos collaborated on the capture of an enemy leader. The Scarlet Corps requested that she be interrogated by the Archon of Secrets. The disfavored wished to display her corpse in battle. Since the stalwart defenders refused to surrender, a gesture was needed to instill the fear. You ordered the enemy commander to execute it, her body displayed as a warning for those who would defy the overlord, or you ordered that the enemy commander be sent to the voice of Nerat for interrogation. I'm inclined to go with these options because just killing the woman would bring us, just some fear, but he she can know a lot about the city defense and all that. So let's do it. Like so many enemy prisoners, the stalwart region vanished inside the voices of Nerat's tent, never to be seen again. Her scream were the only evidence that she had ever passed through camp, uh, passed through camp, and thus went on beyond what most considered possible. When at last she fell silent, the voices invited you inside. There was no region to be found, only a map which the voices had marked with hasty scrawls, marked supposed weakness in the enemy defense. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to accomplish. The disfavored carved a slow, steady path into the heart of Stalwart and surrounded the enemy massive fortress. Within the main bulk of their forces defeated, the enemy leadership retreated to their mighty fortress, content to wait out the war. The overlord answered this impudence with an edict of storms on the peninsula, a devastating spell that would endure for as long as the cowardly hearts of stalwart leaders persisted in beating. Pleased by your efforts, Tunon deemed you the proper representation to deliver Kairos' edict. Aside from being given a 3-day window to read the edict, you receive no other instruction. Okay. 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 The Edict of Storm. Agreeing with the wishes of disfavored, you proclaim the edict at once, leaving the enemy no time to react. Stalwart had ample opportunity to surrender for several years. The time for mercy was long gone. Okay, and in an attempt to ingratiate themselves with the people of Stalwart, the Scarlet Course insisted that warning be sent to the towns and villages, so that the people might prepare for the horror about to descend on them. At once live in the enemy limit. Um, okay, I'm inclined to go with a quick war here. Let's do it. You agreed with the disfavored rationale. The leaders of Stalwart had refused honorable battle, and too many disfavored lives were lost in the campaign. Since the last regent refused to leave the keep, you would let him watch as his people suffer. Without hesitation or regret you broke the seal of Kairos' Edict of Storm and read the Overlord's incantation. Okay, so another part of war is ended. The Edict of Storm. The clear skies darkened as you read the final words of the edict. A flurry of wind and rain wiped through the rolling plains and craggy canyons, turning rocks, uprooted trees, and helpless soldiers into hazardous shrapnel. Armed with a measure of foresight, you were able to remove yourself from area before the storm grew more violent. Over time, nearby communities told of cyclones consisting of thousands of soldiers' wars of limbs, spears, armor and skulls. What's more, the weather showed no sign of dissipating. Several units of disfavored who fought the enemies in spite of the advanced storm were caught up in the Overlord's magic. The few survivors regrouped and nursed their wounds. Their failure to topple the Stalwart Legion shamed them into believing the dead more fortunate. The name Stalwart fell from use. People took no calling it the Blade Grave. People took to calling it the Blade Grave, for the remade landscape festooned with the iron and bronze armaments of two once great legions. As Kairos' forces departed, you spared a glance back at the ruins of Stalwart, marveling at your work. You didn't have long to rest before Tumon called you into service once again. Let's read quickly about Blade Grave. The Blade Grave is the name given to what remains of the realm of Stalwart after its ruination when Kairos proclaimed the Edict of Storms upon the land. The magical storms struck the disfavored and unbroken armies during the height of their engagement. Now most of what remains is a blighted landscape of discredited armor and weapons, and high winds of rust and human dust. Okay. So we are near to the end. Conquest complete. You have reached end of Kairos conquest. Do you want to continue to erase your progress and start over? No, I want to continue. Okay, that was quite an impressive beginning of the game. At that time I'm inclined to make a pause after I can save my game, and we will go to the actual let's play, to the actual gameplay in the next videos. But of course we have to wait a little bit before I can save.
The year
before
is
we...
431,
Okay.
and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault.
Okay.
With their main forces spread across the tiers, the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Okay. So now it's actual gameplay. Then I presume we have been expecting you. Welcome to Tyranny. If this is your first visit to the world of Tyranny, watch for these windows of help and become familiar with. You can draw a message anytime from the. Okay. So for now I will stop recording and we will go to the actual game in the next video. So I thank you all for watching it and I see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.